The end of the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures overlaps with some disturbing trends in the pandemic. Daily figures for new infections are on the rise in Massachusetts, as in much of the country, and there's a continuing stalemate in Washington over spending for relief and recovery. That means all the more need for local response, including the efforts of Boston's anti-poverty agency, ABCD. We'd like to welcome its president and CEO, John Drew. Thank you very much for being with us again, John.
Thank you for having me here today.
John, I know there are so many organizations doing things and so many problems to solve right now, but is there one overriding message you really want people to hear loud and clear about ABCD at least?
Well, I just have to remind myself, and since I've been here a long time, time passes when you're trying to help people well. But we started this organization to try to help change the dynamics on the ground. We started the first legal services. We started the first health centers, the first work programs, the first community agencies in every neighborhood. All of that was done in the early days and coming forward to allow people from the communities to get access to jobs, to get access to be able to help. And through that, we've got a lot of people that came through into politics. I'm very proud of that. We're still doing that. But in addition to that, we also are every day on the ground are there to help all of our neighbors who need help that day. So now we're in a situation where nobody has gone through it that I know of. And the collapse, the pandemic, the economy collapsed completely, except, I would say this, when you think about the economy collapsing, what we see, and it's not hard, is that the collapsing at the bottom, which is about 40% of the population plus or minus, has been profound. I mean, they just lost everything. Hotels, entertainment, jobs that people did by necessity to be able to make a living, they're gone. And many parts will be continued that way because the pandemic is still spiking again. And Ireland and Italy and other countries are actually closing down a bit again. So we're not out of this. And we're going to see higher unemployment. We're going to see prolonged unemployment. And we're going to see misery that goes with that, which is loss of ability of families to see a way to survive. So we're going to help each and every one of the families that we can reach. We're already reached 10,000. We'll continue to do that. I'm very concerned that our national government, which should have been active now, in the 30s, we hit this big time. Franklin Roosevelt stood up and said, nothing to fear but for yourself. In 2008 and 9, we had President Obama, and come in during the Great Recession and steered us through. We haven't had that kind of capability, put it that way now. So we're going to have a longer time getting through this. And we also have a lot of stalling along the way. The federal government should have, by now, put out a second large stimulus that would have put people back to work, which have given the increased necessity of unemployment, $600, which they lost August 1st. Be able to get a moratorium that sticks because we help the landlord. Also, the states, the city government, the schools, all would get under the right bill a surge of money that will keep them able to operate. We need to continue to operate our economy. The people at the bottom, people at the top seem to be doing real well for themselves, but they're not going to if we let the whole economy slide down. So I can't make something happen which is not happening right now in Washington. And my concern there is that, though the stimulus, the $3 trillion that Nancy Pelosi put together a couple of months ago, was actually the way to go. And right now, as of today, the United States Senate has no interest in taking that up, no matter what you read. Much more interested in making sure they get it under Supreme Court justice. So we're going to run into an election very soon. And the stimulus may still be hanging out there. That's the one surge that we need in this economy right now. We're going into winter, God's sakes. We've got kids who need a Christmas. They'll need something, and we need that kind of help. So,
Sean, I want to ask you about something.
Go
At
ahead.
ABCD, you have a lot of experience working with persistent poverty. It's a long process for people, but they do work their way out of it usually. Now you've got sudden poverty. How does that change things for you? How do you pivot to that?
Well, we pivot the way we usually do. We're already on the ground in every neighborhood and every child in Head Start, the 2,500 families. So immediately we're able to pivot and we had to stop having children going to Head Start, but we bought food. We bought tankers of food. We bought and we were able to get access to have food right at the front door. So people who were immediately hungry got the food. And we've also got work with Stop and Shop to get the people to deliver. We got rent programs now coming that we're giving people the first month, last month. We're helping other people to stay in their home. Bottom line, coming into the winter, we've got to hold everybody in place. So we're able to immediately do that. We've had experience doing it in the past. We work with other people. And so you can almost see that the day the governor shut the economy down, if you really looked at it and see all these people not working and businesses not operating, the economy just tanked. Rightly so. We have a virus that will kill us all. So we've got to hold it back. The price was the economy, and the price of the economy was massive amounts of people lost their jobs and income. Businesses, small businesses are going out of business. And there's no relief in sight right now, except, quite frankly, the Federal Reserve has been very helpful for those who watch interest rates, but it really requires our national government to step up, put out a major infusion into the economy to try to save as much of this economy as possible, as long as possible, until we get to the other side, vaccines, or whatever way we get to the other side. We've got to hold together. If we do not, and if people do not have income, then we're looking at a third world country. We're looking at massive homelessness. Many people couldn't afford to pay at all for heat. All that sort of stuff is real. So if we have an election, when we have an election November 3rd, and we have nothing passed that will help this situation, then if one person loses, current incumbent, my concern is he's not going to be willing to do a heck of a lot. If the new person running against them gets elected, he and the Senate goes with him, they won't get anything done until he takes office in February and March. So we got 3 months ahead of us right now where there may not be any major resources. That's why the governor is taking on some other things, trying to mitigate that, but he doesn't have the resources. So in the absence, I'm giving you an overview, folks. I mean, there's probably nothing you can control. It's just real. So on the ground, what we're doing, because we do heating assistance, we're trying to get as many people as possible signed up for heating assistance this winter, start November 2nd. That is going to, for some people, that'll be $1,000 to go into the household for the heat. For others, a little less, a little more, but it will help, because if you can't pay your rent and you're worried and you can't pay your heat, then you're going to have a freezing house, or the landlord's going to throw you out. It's miserable. I think the debate last night, they talked about a dark winter. It'll be a dark winter. There's no question about it. It'll be cold. It'll be icy. It will be a place you need heat to live. And if you can't get the heat to live, then where are you going to go? So, you know, that every year I talk about that. That's true for every year. Now it's compounded. What do we have on top of that? We have people not able to pay the rent at all. Moratoriums being lifted so people can be pushed out. And where are they going to go? We don't have any place to go. We can't keep moving people around, families. So ABCD's main goal right now, knowing all what I just said, and hopefully that they all jump out of the woodwork tomorrow in Washington and give everybody the $600 and the $1,200 they deserve and all that. But I don't see that happen right away. So we have a lot of places that we're doing things right now I want anybody who's listening to think, I'm out of work, I got waiting, I'm on unemployment. If you're making $78,000, family of four, you can be helped. It's important that you find a way to reach us. Oh, by the way, United Way, anybody else who's got resources, do not feel that you're begging. You deserve all the help you can get. We have to save souls right now and bodies. So hey, we have food pantries, neighborhood centers, fuel assistance, foreclosure prevention, housing rental, and giving lines for people. Now, it's also important to say this. I will need as much money as I can gather, we can gather. I'm asking the winners in society, Amazon and those, please send us gift cards that we can give to people, shop and shop. That would be very helpful. That could add on to what we can do. We ask the giving community right now, we're doing winter emergency, give us cash. That will be instantly transferred into food, shelter, and we'll do our very best to hold as many people in place with hopefully heat, hopefully enough food, elderly for their medicines, and anything else you can think of, while the children who are going to school are not in school. It's just
John, finally, for people who need help, what's the best way for them to get in touch with ABCD?
Well, go to, if you have access to the internet, go to bostonabcd.org, and that's our website. You can call our main number, 617-348-6000. Now, let me give you a couple of numbers, which I won't give you all our numbers, but we've got them out there. We've got a lot of direct lines for you to call. Food pantries, direct line, 617-348-6559. We have 5 food pantries in the city. We have fuel assistance scheduling appointments, 617-348-6599. Please call, please get in, because we'll need to get some of your documents on file and to get you eligible by November 2nd. We want you to be eligible on the first day.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to let people know that there's some help out here.
Great. Thank you. John Drew from ABCD.